Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 618, we're going to talk about Taborax, Hope's Demise. Now for 3 mana, we get a 2/2 flyer. It has a lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. Oh shoot, at this moment I remembered a card I forgot. Dang it. Anyway, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Taborax. If it was a cleric, you could draw a card and lose life. So obviously this wants you to lean into clerics. By the way, the card that I remembered was an Unspeakable Symbol. Yeah. So let's look for a slot for Unspeakable Symbol, shall we? So this is a very, very heavy creature deck, heavier than most mono black decks. I guess we'll do ramped, which is not, I'm using the Opaline Unicorn. We don't have a whole lot of ramp in the deck. I chose the Unicorn because it's a creature that I can sacrifice. Yeah, not a cleric, but the idea of a whole bunch of clerics sacrificing a Unicorn makes me remember back to Legend. Do you remember that? Anybody? Tom Cruise's first movie. He was a kid. Anyway, Dark Ritual, and then Culling of the Weak, because you get to sack a creature. That's in sacrifice decks, that's one of the biggest problems that I've noticed is not having sacrifice outlets. So, let's get to sacrifice outlets, shall we? We have, Carrion Feeder, obviously. Blood Flow Connoisseur. Skyclave Shadowcat. Disciple of Grizzlebrand, Dark Supplicant. Now, yes, there is no Scion in the deck. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but what I'm looking at here is a 1-mana cleric that can sacrifice 3 clerics. It'll probably be 1. And then fail to find. I don't care. It's just the ability to sacrifice 3 clerics at a 1 cost to get 3 1/1 counters. Draw 3 cards on my commander. That's what Cabal Archon, sack a cleric. Nantuko Husk. Whisper. Right? Erebos. We're already getting close. I need to back up. Erebos is actually both. This is a death trigger and a sack outlet. So that's a beautiful thing. Fallen Angel. Now, Dread Return I've got in this category as well because we're going to be flashing it back to sack 3 creatures, right? I don't care what we're getting back. Now, I have Lord of the Pit because I felt like there needed to be one big beady thing. And in this deck, the drawback is, not a lot. We have enough creatures to feed it. And then we have Dimir Houseguard, which technically is a sacrifice outlet. But we all know that we're not using this as a creature. This is another version of a tutor. So, why do we need a tutor, you ask? Well, because we do have a lot of creatures. We are, sacrificing a bunch of them off. Mortal Kombat just seemed like a natural fit here. Which is going to bring us to our card draw. Now, in theory, our commander's got card draw in it, but, we can't really rely on that all the time. So we have Costly Plunder, Village Rites. I love those sacrifice a creature ones, because, it fits our theme. Bankrupt in Blood, Painful Lesson, Sign in Blood. Now, before we get to the actual clerics, let's look at the non-clerics. The non-clerics made it in here for various different reasons, like the Nightblade, because our commander that's our main win condition, is Taborax just getting in the red zone. But giving it Death Touch, not bad. Reassembling Skeleton and Sanitarium Skeleton is just recursion. You know, those are creatures that we can sack, get the counter. Yeah, we're not drawing the card, but and we can get them back. Sparring Construct. You know, you can sack it and effectively get 2 counters. Genji sacrifices itself. I mean, it's got haste. It's a 1-drop. I hate to take out a creature for Unspeakable Symbol, but She-Ray, because we have a lot of 1-power creatures. We have Falkenrath Noble, you know, a good die trigger, and Sir Conrath, a great die trigger. So, that brings us to Clerics. You know, Priest of Gix is a cleric. It's a human cleric minion now, which is pretty sweet for that ability. We have Scion of the Swarm. Gain life, put a counter on it, which may or may not happen. Now, okay, let me get to a lot of these quote-unquote useless ones. I'm playing cards in here like Shadowborn Apostle. I own 1 of this card. It is in here because, you know what? It's a 1-mana cleric. That's it. Disciple of the Vault. Here again, a 1-mana cleric. We got a couple of artifacts. If something happens to happen to artifacts, you know, I mean, that did make me put in a Vault of Whispers, but yeah. Initiates of the Even Hand, 1-mana cleric, not exactly amazing. It's not like we need to fix our black mana, that's all we have. Archfiend's Vessel. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, you know, hey. Disciple of Phoenix. Pontiff of Blight. Now, I want to talk about Pontiff of Blight because it's been a while since we've addressed Extort. The Extort cost is a hybrid Orzhov. How this is allowed in a mono-black deck is a very common question, or, you know, why it's not allowed in a mono-white deck. Well, obviously not mono-white, but color identity, the Rules Committee has set many, many years ago that color identity is based off of the mana symbols in the cost and in the text box. Now, technically, reminder text is not game rules. It is just reminder, just that. So, color identity does not check reminder text. Kind of a weird thing. I like to save Extort cards for Orzhov, mainly for flavor reasons, but it kind of fit here. This is a cleric, and I like it. Skursdak Flayer. I didn't put this in the sacrifice outlet part because we don't have a whole lot of humans, you know, it's not really... Entomber Exarch. It's pretty good. Vile Deacon. +X, where X is the number of clerics in play. So this can get you there. A Demon's Disciple. Now, I don't know if the rest of that ilk of creature is cleric. I know that there's a zombie, yeah, anyway, you see what I'm saying. No Priest of Oblivion. Kind of like this one. Maness, Life Leak. And if we draw it late game and can kick it, we get a creature back. Disciple of Malice. Because, you know, protection from the weakest color matters. Order of Even Hand. Marauding Blood Priest. And like Priest of Yawgmoth. There's not a lot of artifacts in here. It is a 2-mana cleric. And hey, if we get lucky, you know, why not? Let's do our other 2 non-basics. We got a Polluted Mire and a Rogue's Passage. Yeah, a lot of those cards are in there just strictly because they're creature types. To run a Coscom Falls, which is the black version of, you know, Propaganda, Ghostly Prison, Elephant Grass, things like that. which I don't run it a lot because it does require you to tap a creature. Here, we don't have a problem with that. We have enough creatures, we can make that happen. Unearth is, of course, going to get us one of our cheap things back, which most of our creatures are. And then ways to enhance our commander, like Whisper Silk Cloak, Fire Shrieker, and Endless Scream. Endless Scream, I think, is one of the most overlooked cards from Tempest. A lot of people look at this and automatically assume it's a variant on Howl from Beyond. No, no. This is an enchant creature. This stays. I am not running a Cabal Coffers Urborg package in this deck, but only because I don't have it, right? But if you're running that package, you've got an extra slot and are remotely trying to attack with creatures. This is insane. Yes, it's sorcery speed. If you're playing with the quickening, cards, Voldokin Ore, stuff like that, it gets real good because it stays. Yeah. Anyway, now we've got removal. This is pretty standard fare. I want to start with Feed the Swarm because we just got this from ZNR, and it is amazing. Because there's not that many black ways to destroy enchantments, right? Not that many at all. As a matter of fact, I think this may be one of two. So, Innocent Blood, of course, everybody sacks a thing. Walk the Plank, Murder, Terror, Price of Fame. Price of Fame is decent. I don't know why we're not playing this more, me included, because, 4 mana instant to destroy a creature. That's one more than Murder. It's a little easier to cast. Doesn't matter for this deck, but But it's a Doomblade if it targets a legend, which, we know everybody's coming to the table with one. Profane Prayers, decent removal for Clerics. And lastly, Victim of the Night. And that is it for Taborax. It's kind of it was a little different building Clerics as mono black and not, black white, because a lot of the first ones that come to your mind just happen to be white, but anyway, that is it for today. We're going to put 618 back over on the wall. But I do appreciate it, everybody. We have got a couple of announcements. I've got a couple of new patrons. I'm going to get y'all's emails out as soon as I can. And Cardsphere, cardsphere.com, is writing an article on pretty much the project. So I'm not sure if it actually comes out today, tomorrow, when. I'll keep you updated, let you know. I pre-read it. It's kind of a question and answer thing, but I like it. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And it's time for Brian to go to work. So I guess we're going to shuffle and cut.